Hi, I am Miracle Emebo. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about a topic that deals with almost every aspect of life, from business to your personal life to your education, almost every aspect. But it's usually overlooked or not even noticed in our daily lives. So I'm going to talk about focus. So if you were to ask me what focus is, I'll say focus is singleness of sight. Focus is gazing steadily at something without giving into distraction. Focus is not the absence of distraction. It is gazing steadily anyway, even in the presence of distraction. That's what focus is. And for focus to work, I have noticed that focus cannot be random. You cannot focus randomly at anything. You cannot focus at different things at the same time. No, you cannot focus on different things at the same time. No, it can never be effective that way. It is defined that it is singleness of sight. That means you have to have something defined that you are fixing your gaze on. And which is why I said, for focus to be effective, we need vision. For focus to be effective, we need vision. If you're asking me what is vision, no. Let me break it down. It's not one big English. Vision is your destination. It's that thing you have in your mind's eye that you want to achieve. That desire in your heart that this thing is what I want to bring into reality, that is not a current reality right now in your life. Focus now makes you walk towards it. This focus, and for this to be effective, you need this. This has to be defined. That is, your vision has to be defined for focus to be effective. Your vision has to be defined. It has to be specific and as detailed as possible for focus to be defined, to be effective rather. And also I noticed that when you have a defined vision, which is now easy for you to focus on effectively, there is something called planning. It automatically comes into play when you get these two things right. Planning, because since you have a destination, a defined thing you are trying to achieve, and the more you focused on it, the more you begin to see the possibilities in that vision you want to achieve. The more you gaze on it, the more you see the possibilities, the more you get insight, the more you are inspired on what to do. And the more you are inspired, the more you get insight, the more you begin to make plans on how to implement those inspiration, on how to implement those thoughts that are coming to your head, on the easiest way to get this vision to no longer be a vision in your mind, but now a physical and tangible reality. So focus in process is planning. Focus in process is planning, because you cannot plan for something that is not defined also. Planning is focus in process. So by the time you gaze steadily at that vision you are trying to achieve, you begin to make plans on how it will come to reality. Let me give you a simple example so that it will not fly over your head. Let's say I want to travel, that is the simplest example now. I want to travel from Lagos to Abuja. My vision is to travel to Abuja. I want to be to Abuja. I want to be in that place. I want to just come to Abuja. I have some things I want to do there. I love the environment and every other thing. Focus makes me fix my gaze on it, because this is a defined and specific vision moving to Abuja. Focus makes my gaze fixed on that. And because my gaze is fixed on it, I begin to get insight. I begin to get inspiration on the best way to move. I begin to get inspiration on the best way to follow it. I begin to get inspired. I begin to gain insight on how to go about it. In the process, I now notice that, okay, since I want to do this, why not? What option should I take? Should I go by air, by land, by sea? These are options in place. But you notice, if before I was struggling with indecision, now it has been narrowed down. Because it's no longer ambiguous, like maybe I want to travel to UK. It's no longer traveling to America. Those options are no longer in the table because I now have a defined vision. So those other options, even though they are good, they no longer align with where I want to go. So automatically, they are not even part of the options on the table. And now the options on the tables are traveling by air, traveling by sea, traveling by land. Now I narrow it down. That is focus at play. I narrow it down. Okay, which of these options would I want or is more convenient for me? I decided to, let me just go to Abuja by land. Let me see how it is. I want to have the experience. I've narrowed it down. Traveling by land. Even in traveling by land, there are multiple options. I can go by bus. I can go by train. I can drive myself to Abuja. I can go with a bicycle. I can even walk to Abuja. Now, these are the options available within that context of my vision, which is to come to Abuja. And after making my analysis and weighing my options with respect to my vision and which is most convenient and most fitting for me, I decided to move to Abuja by train. Now, other options have also fallen away. I start thinking of, okay, how do I do this? Do I book for a ticket online? Do I go to train station and book for a ticket? Which dates? When exactly am I going to Abuja? When am I traveling? Are there any loose ends I need to tie in Lagos? Is there any arrangement I need to make for my coming to Abuja? You begin to plan this thing. And because of the more you are thinking about it, the more your gaze is on it, the more options jumps out to you, the more you are inspired on what to do. Things that ordinarily you wouldn't have thought of. But because your gaze is now single on that thing, you begin to see them. Ordinarily, you wouldn't have seen them. But because you are focused on that, your gaze is on that, is singled on that and fixed on that thing, you begin to see the options available. You begin to see possible problems that might come up. You begin to see possible solutions. You begin to see better alternatives on how to achieve that vision. That's what focus does to you. Focus brings planning into play. Planning is simply focus in process. Because this is what you keep doing until that vision is now a tangible reality. And one sweet thing about focus is that the more you gaze at it, the more you focus on that thing, on that vision, the more you think about it, meditate on it, you are inspired, different options are jumping at you, the more it becomes almost a tangible reality, and the more you are energized to pursue it. It becomes a tangible reality. You can almost taste it, you can almost feel it. And the more you are energized to pursue it, until it's now a final reality to you. It's now a reality to you that you are now living in. But before you live in it, focus and your planning already makes you have a foretaste of that thing before you live in it. And all this thing is not in the absence of distractions, because in the world we live now, we are in the is a continuous process of distraction. Everywhere you look, there are distractions. But when you fix your gaze on something, you become blind to every other thing. It's not as if they don't exist. It's now they are now fertile. They don't affect you. because they don't have the ability to influence where you are going. The only options on your table now are now options that are relevant to where you are going. The only decisions on your table now are decisions that are relevant to where you are going and to what you are trying to achieve. So this is just be defining focus in the simplest of terms. Focus helps your vision become a reality. Focus helps your planning. Focus shapes your decisions. It shapes the quality of the decisions you make because you are not distracted. It shapes the quality of insight you gain because your gaze is fixed on that thing and you begin to see things that ordinarily you wouldn't have thought of. You begin to see things that ordinarily you wouldn't have imagined. You begin to see them. I begin to implement. You begin to think in that regard. And you begin to paint a better picture of your vision for yourself. And at the end of the day, you bring that vision into reality. It's a win-win situation. Like I stated before, focus is not in the absence of distraction, but it is still gazing steadily at that thing, irrespective of that distraction. So this is a short one today, and thank you so much for staying true. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.